You have to be focused, you have to be confident.
And she told me, look how fast the brain is working. And
I balance myself by just being honest.
The goal is beyond you. How do I get there?
You can try.
you can try.
Why
yeah.
not?
So they're looking at things that have gone wrong.
What do you want to do in life? That should make your heart
And
sing.
you can actually achieve those dreams.
This is a signal that I need to change something in my life.
Hi everyone, EI is back. Bigger, better, and more entertaining than before. This season, EI wants to focus on empowering and inspiring our youth. So why this change? Because we all know that youth are the future. And we at EI want to do everything we can to help and channel our future generation into becoming the best leaders that build a world with better education, fewer diseases, stronger communities, and greater equality. To start our new season, I have with me an inspiring leader, a tech whiz, and one of the most successful young entrepreneurs here in Tanzania. He is the CEO of one of the fastest growing internet service providers. Use our hashtag #EnableYouth to give a shout out to a youth that inspires you, and stay connected by sharing your thoughts through our social media platforms. Thank you everyone. Stay tuned and stay inspired. Thank you so much, Aashiq, for being on the show. I just want to say that you're such an inspiration to youth, and I reached out to you because whenever I see you on social media, I feel like I can connect with you. And so, you know, a lot of your posts are so inspiring because you're able to connect with the people. So thank you so much for being here and taking the time to be on Educate, Empower, and Inspire. I wanna know a little bit about you. So where were you born, and did the place you grew up have influence on who you are today?
First, thank you for having me. I hope that having me on the show makes it a good show and it isn't a boring show. So, the place I was born, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. But I have a different view when you ask me whether if the place that I was born has an influence on me. So I don't believe it's the place. I think it's the people and the things that you go through and the circumstances that you go through. So for me, being born in Dar es Salaam, yes. But I think it's all about the people. It's not the place. So for Raha, it's not Raha without its people. So I would say, if I were to answer, yes, it does influence a being. It did influence me, but it was more about the people and the things that I went through, as opposed to just the place in Dar es Salaam.
Okay. So a little bit about your childhood. What kind of child were you, and what did you enjoy doing as a child?
To be honest, I think I had, if I would put it mildly, a different childhood. I was definitely playful, and I was a rebel, and I was naughty. But I think I personally do not want to remember much of my childhood because it is made up of a lot of difficult memories and times, which I don't regret. I think that makes you who you are. It makes you stronger. So if you ask me what I remember, is I think there was a lot of distracting playfulness in my childhood.
So going from that, because you talk a little bit about the hardships in your life, and it's okay if you don't want to answer this, but can you give me an example of like a difficult time in your life and how you overcame that obstacle or that time?
So there are many, but I think since we started with the childhood, I'll give you one of the phases that I went through. I think if you know that I come from a broken family, my father left when I was 2 or 3, and my mother passed away when I was 8. She had cancer. I thank my siblings, my brothers, my sisters, who took on the responsibility. I've been living with my aunts and uncles. And that is why when I did answer your previous question, said, I don't really want to remember those times. and I don't really recall as much from that time, or I try not to recall much. But growing up without parents makes you, I think, a little hard, makes you vulnerable to a few things. But I genuinely believe that everyone goes through hard phases. Everyone goes through a difficult phase in their lives, whether having a rough childhood, or not having parents, or being an orphan, or being, not having enough means. I think it is what you do after that matters. So for me, my childhood was difficult. How I got through them is, I think, like I said, I became a rebel. I was very playful. I didn't really much think about education, or I wasn't really great at school, but I think that was my defense mechanism. And if I were to take something back from that time is, I could have chosen a different path to where I am today. But I think bad experiences are good for you because you know what not to do.
Right, yeah. So what changed then?
I think going through the different phases that you go through, and I'm sure you understand that everyone matures at a different level. Yeah. For me, I was fortunate enough to be maturing early enough because you go through, whether you call them problems, challenges, different things, you just come through this realization saying, yes, it's very easy to blame others for not working out, or things not being the way you wanted them, or things being very hard. Why is it better for Fatima and not better for me? But it's harder to actually work on the things that don't work, and how do you make them work? So for me, I think going through the problems, I thank God that I did have these problems. It made me, I believe, mature a little faster. I still like to hold on to the child in me, but it made me mature a little faster to understand that, look, everything great in life is not easy. Everything good in life doesn't come easy. And if I really want to change things, it is up to me. I have to change myself. I have to change my outlook. And I have to act more than just blame. So for me, I would just say it was a realization of everything that went around me. I'm thankful that I realized in the right way, rather than, it was very easy for me to say, I don't care about anything else, I could go on the wrong path. But I think that is the easy option. And the rebel that I am, I don't like the easy option. So,
No, that's, I think that's so enlightening, because it's true that I feel youth need to understand that taking up this victim role is not really going to get you anywhere. People do go through hard times, and you have to learn to pick yourself up. When I was in high school, I was in grade 9, I remember, and because I was so focused on golf, I was told by my teachers that I might have to like repeat my grade, the same grade again. And I remember I was just something hit me, and I said, I don't want to be this person, And I worked so hard, so hard, because I just said to myself, I don't want to be this victim. I don't want to be this person who ends up blaming everyone else for doing badly. So I ended up working really hard, and then alhamdulillah, I graduated doing pretty well, And I think you're right. You have to have a change of mindset at a certain time, and as with youth today, that's the lesson, right? That you can't play this victim role. You have to go get what you want.
Absolutely. I look at it this way: either you can cry about it and do nothing, or cry. It's good to cry. Yeah. Get your whether you call it your defeat or sad time, right. But then get back up and start doing something about it. Because, to be honest, no one is going to come help you do anything that you want to do with your life.
I agree. So what are 3 things people don't know about you?
Well, if I were trying to be funny, then I have a bigger wardrobe than my wife does. But on a serious note, maybe I'd like to keep it that way. Let people not know me. I love gadgets. And for those who don't know, I've been married almost 2 decades.
Okay.
So I think those are things I can give away.
Yeah.
I've watched interviews of so many CEOs and successful people, and I guess everyone defines success differently. So how do you define success?
So like you said, I think everyone defines success differently. It's a relative term. I think success to each is its own. Someone would say success is to be rich. Someone would say success is to run a marathon if they are able to. So for me, it's initially while I was young, and everyone wants to be rich, so I would not deny that, thinking, if I can be rich, I will be successful. But as I grew and as I went through the different phases in life, for me, success is being able to do the things I want. Being happy, changing lives, mattering. I wanna be able to go to, for example, South Africa tomorrow. I should be able to do it. I want to take my family out this weekend without any restrictions. I should be able to do it. So it's, for me, I would say success is being happy and being able to do what you want to do. But more importantly, while you're doing all those things, that's a personal part of success, I would say. But I think success is if I am able to impact people, and I feel I'm doing something right because you want to interview me. So if I can inspire people, I would find that successful about what I've been doing so far.
My idea of, happiness was, very different until I realized that, happiness cannot come from material things. And alhamdulillah, I don't know why, but I realized this very early in my life, and impacting people's lives or just, making even a difference to one person, right, can do so much. And I think that's why I feel like I can connect with you as a person so much, because whenever I'm on social media, I can see how your posts connect with people, and I find that very fascinating and amazing.
Thank you.
Who did you look up to in life while growing up? Any role models or?
So again, I will answer that question differently. Like I said initially, my childhood was different, and if I take the example of what you said earlier, saying about my social media posts, it is exactly why I do it, because when I was growing up, I didn't really have someone to look up to, and I think when I was growing up, technology wasn't as advanced. We didn't have social media and stuff. So it's very hard for me to find someone or find a few people to look up to. And that is why exactly I want to use all the tools at my disposal to impact people. But if I were to say, I think my mother would be the biggest role model for me for the short time that I remember her. Things were quite difficult, and this woman went from being a dependent housewife to then running the house or trying to run the house. I remember she used to do catering services, make food, take it to primary schools to sell so that she could make some money. So if I must name, then it would be my mother for the short lessons or short time that I got with her.
And I think that goes back to what we were talking about before, that in order to be successful or make a difference or do something with your life, you don't have to be a CEO of the company. You don't have to be this huge personality. Your mother, for example, did whatever she could to feed you guys and sort of be there, you know, when you needed it. So
Exactly.
I think that's amazing, right?
Exactly, and you know, and I tell everyone I work with that titles really mean nothing. You are a leader at where you are. So whether you are sweeping the floor, or you're fixing a light, or you're a plumber, or you're a CEO, if you do things really well, if you really put in your heart and put the hard work and put the things that are supposed to be put in, you are a leader on your own. And I cannot imagine why would you not be growing up in your life, you know? So, and growing up in all means, whether it's material, whether it's you know, psychological, whether it's you know, mental. So I strongly believe that.
Thank you. So thank you for the brief history about yourself. You know, I want to talk a little bit about your work and your corporate life. And I'm sure that a lot of people want to know a little bit more about what you do and how you got to where you are today. You know, so can you tell us a little bit about your daily routine?
So I'm not a morning person, but but I do wake up quite early, and contrary to popular belief, but I would be up between 6 to 7.
Okay.
And like I'm a gadget freak, I will go through my gadgets, and I'm someone who's very passionate about technology. So I would read up. I do a lot of reading in terms of what's happening in the world, what's new as far as the gadget. I think what's happening in space, you know, or new medical science breakthroughs. I think those things inspire me to be creative with whatever I do, whatever I love doing. So I would spend my time reading much in the morning, and this could also be reading my emails. I only respond where I see I need to respond. I think I actually start getting involved in operations by, I think, 9 or so. I have this set meetings week by week that I meet my teams. I'm very close to my team. We work in an environment that isn't a boss, you know, environment. It's a team environment. It's a player environment. You know, everyone does their own things. So I have my meetings throughout the day, and these are usually internal or external. I enjoy meeting and building relationships with my customers, so I do that a lot. I come from a sales background, so I love doing that a lot. I think, and I don't even break for lunch. I do have lunch, but I don't break for lunch. Once I'm out of the house, I'm here. I will end my day somewhere around 7, 8, or 9, depends what I feel like. I will then spend some time at the gym, because I believe being healthy is important for you in whatever you do. And if I can make it back home, spend some time with my kids before they're put to bed because they have school. And once in a while, I mean, you know, a few days in a week, I try to also spend some time, maybe 5 minutes to 10 minutes in the morning before they go to school. Because it's quite busy for me to, it's long hours, you know, I start at 6, 7, and I am home at 10.
So what keeps you going throughout the day? Like, you know, is there something that just, you know, because I think youth these days, like we were talking about before, that I think that motivation and that sort of drive is missing. So what keeps you going?
I want to live forever, but I know I can't, right? So what do you do? For me, it's as simple as that. I mean, I want to live forever, but I can't live forever. So I know I'm only temporary here.
Right.
And if I have that thought in my mind, you got the answer. I have to do everything now, or as soon as I can. I feel the drive to do that, because I don't know how long I have, right?
So, what did it take to get to where you are, and how did you climb this corporate ladder?
Uh, if anyone tells you it's easy, it isn't. I'm still trying every day. So for me, it wasn't planned. I was set out to be a pharmacist. Yeah, my family was nice enough, good enough to send me to England to become a pharmacist, and I'm sorry to have let them down because I dropped out, and I couldn't see myself in a room full of medicine. I hate the way it smells. So, you know. In hindsight, I realized that, of course, when I was starting this journey, I didn't know that. Now that I look back, I realize that I was very much interested in technology. I mean, I was intrigued. I was very curious. I wanted to know, and I genuinely believe today that technology does impact positively on human lives, and I want to use this technology to do exactly that. Of course, I dropped out and I came back to Tanzania, and my family wasn't really happy with that. So, you know, and you decide that you know, you have to sort of make it up and, you know, be nice, and so I wanted to look at what I could do in technology. I didn't know what, but anything to do with technology. And I met the founder of Raha at that time. Raha was also quite new, it was starting up. It was a fun project, and as you can see, the name means happiness, fun. Yeah. And when I met him, I mean, it was very simple. I said, listen, if I like you, you will work together, otherwise we won't. So I suppose he liked me. And I started with the first ever internet cafe in Tanzania. At that time, internet cafes were springing up. Yeah. This is in '99, early '99, late '98. And I said, okay, so I have this project going on. How about you run it for me and make it, you know, operational, and then we'll see. So my first ever job in technology was running an internet cafe, and from sweeping the floors to making tea to training people,
wow. Okay.
to being a cashier, and you know, so I did that for about 6 months. So I get bored very fast. If you don't provide a challenge for me, I'll be bored. And I think there was a time again we spoke with the founder. I said, okay, so look, we have Raha. How would you like to come and do sales at Raha? I'm like, yeah, well, how hard could it be? I mean, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. It is only when I joined the sales unit at Raha, I realized that I think this is what I'm meant to do, because, and to me, sales is not about selling your product. It's about building relationships. It's about connecting with your customer. It is about fulfilling the needs. I mean, I think I learned a lot at sales when I met people, when I met clients, and I saw how I could use technology to solve the needs of businesses and individuals. So that's how I started. So I started as a simple sales rep at Raha, and I've been here 19 years, and it hasn't been easy. I've been from sales to corporate sales to tech ops manager to GM enterprise services, and in the last 5.5, 6 years, I'm the CEO. So, but like I said, titles are not important. I think if you do things really well, if you're passionate about what you do, if you love what you do, you will always climb things, and I'm still climbing. So I don't think I'm more successful as yet. I think there's more to do.
Right. No, but I think it's so important, and I think I didn't know all that, but I think that it's so fascinating to know that you started by making tea and sweeping the floors and you know, running an internet cafe to where you are, and success doesn't come so easily, right?
It isn't, and if it's important to you, all those things that you did don't matter because they're worth it, right? And the only thing that I really try doing is not forget that time. Yeah. It's easy. It's hard. You know, you do become arrogant sometimes. You do become, oh, I'm always successful. But you try your best to make sure that you humble down again and say, don't forget what you did to get this. It also goes by saying, so don't, mess it up.
So I'm going to ask you something a little bit controversial. Do you think anyone at Raha can make it to your place in 5 years? And are you encouraging this sort of behavior?
So that's not controversial at all. I think always.
Good.
In fact, I've been looking to replace myself for almost, I think, 2-3 years. That's something I'm failing miserably at. I believe that for you to grow, you must make others grow. If I can't find someone to take up my place, how do I go and do something bigger? That's number one. Number two, I think Raha always gives opportunities. My story is a story that someone who starts up as a sales rep and can be at the home of Raha today. And I have countless stories at Raha. I have had people who, and are still with me, who started up as messengers, making tea. They're senior engineers today in Mwanza. People who started up as, again, messengers, they're accounts clerks today. People who started as engineers, they are my CTO today. People who started as simple antenna technicians fixing TVs is a senior technical engineer today. So these opportunities are in the culture of Raha, and I definitely would see someone else here. I would definitely want that. Someone from my team or someone from outside my team who stays with us together and grows with us. So definitely. I cannot see myself being here doing the same things. I would want to do more.
Right. So I see your hashtag all the time, Life of a Corporate Junkie. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
It's maybe you won't believe that, but I don't consider myself a corporate leader or a CEO or anything of those. I consider myself a junkie. I am a junkie who is addicted to, I would say, the corporate culture. Of course, technology is what drives me and what I'm passionate about, and that's life of a corporate junkie. I share my life in as simplest of ways as I can, and hopefully impact and inspire people.
I'm going to ask you a few questions related to your business. So you talk a lot about the internet. How do you think it's influenced people's lives?
I think, look, maybe in the past it was the radio, and then came the TV, and then internet. So I think it's such an amazing medium, and it's growing and it's changing. So I think it's an amazing resource. It's something that is a life changer and a game changer, most definitely. It is still going to grow. Our lives are no longer private, but at the same time, I think there's so much learning from the internet, good and the bad. But I think the good most definitely outdoes the bad on the internet. I still see a lot more innovations coming from the internet. I mean, we spoke about this earlier off interview, and we said how you like connecting to people. The internet does that for you in the shortest possible time, in the biggest reach that you can have, and the cheapest form, right?
Yeah, completely. Yeah. Very true, but I also, because I think the segment is on youth, I think that the internet is amazing, and when you use it for good, it can be so good. But unfortunately, also I feel that, and I'd done an interview on social media with two teenagers. They were very nice though. They were like, they didn't seem like they used it for bad, but I think that to a certain extent, studies have shown that people spend so much time on social media, and sometimes I feel it takes away from, it can create a lot of psychological issues because you're always inside, and it can take you away from the outside, and maybe there's a different sort of growth you can get from being outside. And
so I think anything in exaggeration is bad. I mean, I could have been at the office 12, 14 hours a day and just be on the internet.
Yeah.
But I do get away from that. I do go out and do other things. But pointing out that I think, yes, the internet is a great tool. I also feel that the youth today, and I just want to encourage this, that look, the internet is a tool to educate yourself. If you use it as that, then you're fine. But I understand there's a lot of bad stuff out there too. At the end, it is up to you. What do you want to do? Who do you want to become? Where do you want to go in life? So I definitely encourage outdoor activities. There's so much learning from around us and not necessarily only on the internet. The internet is, I would say, an easier and more cost-effective way to educate yourself. But what we can learn, the wisdom that we can learn from meeting people or meeting our elders or going and doing activities out there is different. I think we need a balance of both. Balance is very important.
Yeah, true. So speaking about the internet, you see these short clips all the time about like a lot of business leaders who have dropped out of school. I didn't know that you did too. But I want to ask you, so what do you think is the importance of education? Do you think that it's necessary? Do you think it's like, that it's fundamental, you have to have an education to be successful?
Most definitely. I mean, just because I dropped out, I'm not promoting that, and I wish I would have gone to formal education. I mean, I've done my education, but I don't have a paper to show it. But I think, number one, definitely, academic, formal education is of utmost importance. I think that gives you the foundation of how to get in knowledge. There's certain things that saying, there's all this knowledge out there, and I want to learn it, but how do I learn it? There's a way. So I think formal education is very, very important. And I think in today's world, specifically, I got lucky, okay? But not everyone is lucky. To stress to that, I think what I call alternate forms of education is equally important. Do your formal education, go through the academic institution and get or do things that you're passionate about. But also educate yourself using the alternate medium, which means social media, YouTube, internet. I mean, there's so much out there. Don't just be a bookworm, is what I'm trying to say. So definitely promote it. Don't learn dropping out from it, most definitely. Go through school, but be open to changes, because you may not know what you want to do in life. When you're 15, 16, 17, I mean, you're quite young. You don't know what you want to do. And be open to changes. And it's okay to change. And it's okay to realize that, look, this is what I'm passionate about. The important thing is to follow your passion, to follow what you love, I feel.
It's funny because before I went to university, my dad said to me, he's like, I can teach you what they're going to teach you in 4 years, in a year and a half. And he's like, and I'll save myself so much money. But he said, you know what, I want you to go, because I think the independence, the sort of experiences, the people you meet, it's amazing.
I don't think you can get that by not going to school. So even though I did drop out, but I did go, and that's one of the experiences. The confidence, the independence, I think teaches you a lot in life.
Right. No, and another thing is like it says a lot about you getting through the system. I feel that you're one of a few people who's become successful and has gone this far with dropping out, but I think that with youth nowadays, they feel like, oh, but this person, because there's so many videos now circulating the internet where they're talking about, whether it's who is it, like Bill Gates, or Oprah Winfrey, all these people dropping out of school and still making it big. So they feel like if they can do it, then, why can't I do it?
So I think you should ask them all.
Yeah.
Did they skip the system? I don't think they did. Just like me, I taught myself the system. It was harder for me.
Right.
And I really genuinely think that I could have done 3 times better if I knew the system.
Yeah.
Because I would probably spend some time learning the system, because I dropped out, So, like I said, not everyone can be fortunate by dropping out. And I don't think, and even if you look at all these successful people who dropped out, they all go back to the university to get
like Mark Zuckerberg.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah,
So
yeah.
why is that important? Because, I think, so it's not about dropping out and they're promoting it. It's about the choices they had at that time, and they felt that by doing this they could do things differently, and they did. But they also came back and learned the system. They went back for their own degree, right? So,
and it's also sometimes, I think it's also not only about the piece of paper. I think when you're out of school, it's what next? What are you going to do with what you've learned, right?
Exactly.
That's also so important. Okay, so do you think high-tech and computer industry is mostly dominated by men?
Well, I see more men than women. So statistically, maybe it is. And if you ask me the reason, I wouldn't be the right ambassador to give you that. But if I were to answer that very shortly, it would be, I think it is men dominated because, not because we do not want women. I think it's just that there's more men in this industry, and I don't know how and statistics in terms of that. So, yes.
But do you think maybe there's a stereotype with this sort of industry, because I think that, having someone like you on the show, and you seem like not a nerd, a very normal person, and you like you said, you like gadgets, you like being on you're so inspiring. So how can we encourage more women, more girls to sort of be in the tech industry?
So I would speak from, I think, where we come from, our culture. I think our culture in the past has been promoting more boys and supposedly not promoting women in certain fields. But I think that is changing. And if you see the way the world evolves, the way technology grows, women are being exposed to more of technology, more of innovation, and I think it's to do with the culture change and mindset change. So, for example, at my home, I have my firstborn is a daughter, and she's more of a gadget person, a technology-related or technology-connected person than my son. Okay, although he has his own gadgets, but my daughter is better at it than my son. So I feel the advancements that we go through are giving more exposure to women at the same time. And I see this changing. But at the end of the day, I feel everyone should do what they love, and if they can, So, and that's important. So, I think it will change with time.
So just 2 more questions. What advice do you have for youth?
Okay.
If you said that you like to sort of, you like to connect with people, so I'm giving you the audience, and I'm sure they would love to hear advice from someone like you on just like anything, any advice you have that you feel doesn't have to be something to do with business or even life advice.
So I think the youth need to understand that with all the advancements that we go through, life isn't all good. Life is tough. It is hard. And nothing worthwhile just comes easy. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of perseverance. There's a lot of disappointments. There's a lot of failures. The point is not to give up, number one, and don't be scared of failing. Sometimes we're so scared of failing that we don't even try. And it's okay to be lost sometimes. But everything that you want is there for your taking. Not when you want it, when you're ready. And if you ask me, when will you be ready? I don't even know that. God knows, the universe knows. But nothing comes easy is what I want to say. You have to earn everything in life. And if it means you have to put in 20 years to get somewhere, then you do. And most importantly, remember that no two people's journeys are the same. Someone could be really successful at age 21 and then go in and lose the whole fortune by age 30. And someone could be amazingly successful at age 40, but they struggled for 30 years to get there. But they will last a lifetime. So number one, hard work always pays. Nothing worthwhile is easy. Don't be scared to fail. Your journey is not the same like someone else's journey. And you will only get success, or what you think is success, when you're ready.
Wow, good life advice. Very good life advice.
Hopefully.
Okay, and last question, and you're free if you don't want to answer this, but how has faith played a role in your life?
So it's been quite important. Faith is, and I would like to define it as when you see everything fail, and it's one of your hardest, or one of the hardest phases that you go through, and you don't see a cliche statement is light at the end of the tunnel. I think faith is what you hold on to. Faith is believing that things will be okay at the end, and they do. So yes, it's very important to me, and I believe it is also a moral compass. We go through life, and the biggest, I think, checks and balance in life is your conscience, and I think faith allows you to develop that.
That's perfect. I just want to say that in the little time that we talked, I've learned so much, and I think that, again, I'm repeating this, but you're able to connect with people in a very amazing way. So I wish you the best of luck, and keep growing, and you keep inspiring people the way that you do. And thank you so much for taking the time.
You're just being very kind. I accept that humbly. I think we all have to do our parts. I am glad to do what I am able to do, but I think if everyone did what they were supposed to do, I think we would have a much better world today. But ending this, I think thank you for having me on the show. I hope I've added value to your show, and I hope you continue doing this, because I think you're equally inspiring people, women specifically. So good luck, and if there's anything I can do to enable that better, I remain at your service.
Thank you so much.
You have to be focused, you have to be confident.
And she told me, look how fast the brain is working, and
I balance myself by just being honest.
The goal is beyond you. How do I get there?
you can try.
You can try.
Why not?
So they're looking at things that have gone wrong.
What do you want to do in life? That should make your heart
And
sing.
you can actually achieve those dreams.
This is a signal that I need to change something in my life.